Hi everybody, it's Robert, your instructor for this Political Science 201 class. Let's look a little bit at Chapter 8. Now, on the Chapter 8 slides, there's going to be some repetitive stuff. I'm going to post a flowchart that shows you how a bill becomes a law. And as part of these PowerPoint slides, there's also a flowchart on, not a flowchart, but a kind of a text flow on how a bill becomes a law. All right? So, one thing that congressional members can bring is some type of political entrepreneurship, right? Some of these members are career politicians, and political parties, don't really necessarily need to recruit a candidate. Candidates kind of recruit themselves, and we see a primarily lawyer-heavy type profession within this. If we look at some of the statistics, we have seen gains in the House and in the Senate with regards to minorities, but probably still we're not where we don't want it to be. Where we want it to be. Okay, so from 1933 to 1994, the House was primarily controlled by the Democrats. Since 1994, we've kind of seen a flopping back and forth of which party controls the House or the Senate. And obviously, the president can get a lot more done when they're of the same party as Congress. Usually, members of Congress are wealthier than the average citizen. Average personal wealth is somebody in the House is 900,000, compared to 2.8 million in the House. And if you look at this Open Secrets website, you're going to be able to see the personal finances for some members of Congress. And then we go ahead and look and open it. It'll show you the richest members of Congress in 2015 and the poorest. And one of the things that I kind of like to point out is this. Look at personal wealth in the past 10 years. Since Bob Corker joined Congress, he joined Congress with a net worth of $32,500. His net worth now is at $69 million. Look at the percentage grow, and if you click on it, it'll show you how net worth has been accumulated. So if we go around and look at some of the things that, the concepts of who does Congress really represent? Do they represent us, or do they represent self-interest? Pork barrel politics is kind of a form of monies that people can solicit for their districts and kind of make a boast about it. They can boast to their constituents that they've raised a certain amount of money for the district. They can also earmark funds for the district and obviously engage in fundraising. Now, when we talk about some of the problems with Congress, a lot of people feel that we should have some type of term limits in Congress, but when we talk about incumbency re-election rates, it could be anywhere from 70 to 90%, which is a pretty good odds for people to win. Incumbents usually have the advantages of name familiarity, resources in their office, knowledge about policy making, being able to earmark, and like we said before, interest groups will heavily donate to campaigns because usually they want to bet on a winner. Now it comes to the point where should we engage in some type of term limits? There is, an argument for and against. If we have term limits, then we'll replace the career politician and we'll open up more competition for seats. If we enact term limits, opponents might argue that it limits our freedom of choice. And maybe we do have somebody that is good and might not necessarily want to get them out of Congress. I think, we all have a favorable feeling of some people in Congress, and if we had term limits, they might be forced to leave even though we want them to stay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and this is the bill process on how to make a bill. I'm going to go ahead and cycle through this, and I want you guys to read it. I'm going to post a video about the filibuster, what I want you to watch, and how to end a filibuster with a cloture vote, and some of the problems and some of the impediments with Congress and how it happens. So make sure you review this. Make sure you look at the chart or the flow chart that I'm going to post about Congress and go through this. And as part of this, there's more about the passing a bill. As part of this, there's some add-ons here that I put about the California legislature, which is composed of the Senate and the Assembly. You don't necessarily need to know this. I just want you to kind of be a little bit familiar with this. No testing on this, but it is part of the PowerPoint. So I want you to mostly go through the bill making process and look at that. Okay, I'm also going to post a video that kind of explains this. So that's all I have for now. I'll come back and we will discuss the presidential duties and responsibilities.